The story behind Rome's and history of the Pyramid of Cestius, an Egyptian tomb in Rome. Subscribed by my YouTube channel, Golden Words. The story behind Rome's Pyramid of Cestius. The Eternal City is home to an elusive ancient pyramid that has captured the imagination of both locals and tourists alike for centuries. If you have already heard about it, or seen a picture of it somewhere, you're probably wondering where exactly it stands, and you're very probably asking yourself why on earth is it there. Read on as we've got all the answers. An ancient pyramid standing tall in the heart of a Roman neighborhood may come as a surprise to many visitors. However, this monument dates back to 12 BC, over 2,000 years ago, and predates many of the more famous Roman landmarks we all have come to know and love. It was built as a tomb for a wealthy Roman magistrate, Gaius Cestius. At the time of its construction it was in the middle of the countryside just outside Rome, and then incorporated into the Aurelian walls. It now dominates a busy intersection in the popular neighborhood of Ostiense. You should definitely discover this neighborhood during your trip to Rome. Egypt was all the craze in 12 BC Rome. Located in Piazzale Ostiense, the Pyramid of Cestius is part of the Aurelian walls and next to the San Paolo Gate. While an Egyptian-style pyramid seems an unusual choice for the final resting place of an ancient Roman citizen, it's important to consider the period in history in which it was built. In 30 BC, Rome conquered Egypt, and what followed was a Roman fascination for all things Egyptian. Monuments were both stripped from Egypt and taken as booty, or constructed in an Egyptian style. The most common of these monuments are the series of obelisks that pepper Rome's beautiful piazzas. Many an emperor and military commander took obelisks from Egypt as trophies and re-erected them in various locations around Rome as a sign of power. Today, a total of 13 ancient obelisks remain in Rome, 8 Egyptian and 5 Roman, scattered around the city. A pyramid with a mistaken identity. An amazing Egyptian obelisk sits in the center of Piazza del Popolo on the north end of Rome's historic center. In addition to the many obelisks and other Egyptian monuments, there was a second, larger pyramid in Rome. This was known as the Pyramid of Romulus and stood near Castel Sant'Angelo. As the years passed by, the origins of the Pyramid of Cestius were gradually forgotten, and in the Middle Ages people began to believe it was the tomb of Remus. This propagated the myth that the twins linked to the founding of Rome, Romulus and Remus, were both buried in the only 2 pyramids in the city. The myth was busted in the 1600s when the Pyramid of Cestius was excavated and its inscriptions were visible again. Not long after, the Pyramid of Romulus was demolished and its marble was used for the stairs in St. Peter's Basilica, leaving Rome with only one pyramid. Perhaps the Pyramid of Cestius stood the test of time because it was incorporated into the city walls and fortifications in 275 AD. Many existing structures in Rome were reused or repurposed to build the Aurelian walls to reduce costs. Today, the pyramid still stands a short distance from Porta San Paolo, a part of the original wall. The Nubian origins of Rome's pyramids. Rome's pyramids were modeled after the original Egyptian ones that the Romans saw after the conquest of Egypt. When most people think of Egyptian pyramids, they think of the famous pyramids of Giza, near Cairo. However, the Pyramid of Cestius was modeled on the Nubian pyramids, specifically from the ancient city of Meroë, in modern Sudan. Meroë was attacked and conquered by the Romans in 23 BC. The similarity between the Pyramid of Cestius and those of the Nubian style suggests that Gaius Cestius was a part of that military campaign and his pyramid was meant to commemorate his win. The Nubian pyramids were favored by the Ptolemaic dynasty, who ruled Egypt at the time of the Roman conquest. The difference between the pyramids of Giza and the Nubian pyramids can be clearly seen in their varying shapes. Those of Giza have a much slighter incline and the Nubian pyramids have a steeper gradient leading to a sharper point. The tomb of Gaius Cestius itself. The back of the Pyramid of Cestius as seen from Rome's Protestant cemetery. In keeping with Egyptian tradition, the tomb of Gaius Cestius can be found inside the pyramid in a burial chamber. Not unlike its counterparts in Egypt, the tomb was ransacked and anything of value was stolen long ago, leaving historians unsure what the tomb may have contained. However, this is where the similarities end. Bright, Roman-style frescoes were found adorning the walls of the tomb. Over time the frescoes were damaged, but parts of them remain and are visible today. Visits to the tomb are by guided tour only, on the 3rd and 4th Saturday and Sunday of every month. Tickets cost €7.50 and must be purchased in advance from CoopCulture website. The pyramid is a truly unique site in Rome and has been admired by architects and travelers alike throughout history. It remains one of the best preserved ancient buildings in Rome and is well worth checking out. History of the Pyramid of Cestius. The immense pyramid was built as a tomb between 18 and 12 BC for the Roman magistrate Gaius Cestius. Cestius was a member of one of Rome's great religious organizations, the Septemviri Epulonum. The pyramid was built from brick-faced concrete covered with slabs of white marble. Measuring 29.6 meters square at the base, the monumental resting place rose 37 meters high. The sharp point at the top of the tomb resembled the pyramids of Nubia from the kingdom of Meroë, attacked by Rome in 23 BC. It is likely Cestius served in the Egyptian campaign and so the pyramid commemorated both his military and religious career. The other pyramid of Rome, the Pyramid of Romulus, dwarfed Cestius' tomb but was dismantled by the papacy in the 16th century to build the steps of St. Peter's Basilica. During the construction of the Aurelian walls between 271 and 275 BC the pyramid was incorporated into the fortifications as a triangular bastion. Reusing the pyramid in this way would have reduced the costs and building time of the new walls. In the Middle Ages, people believed that Cestius' pyramid was the companion to Romulus' pyramid and thus belonged to his legendary brother Remus. However, during excavations led by Pope Alexander VII in the 1660s, inscriptions and tunneling into the tomb found bronze statues that clarified the resting place as that of the largely unknown and slightly underwhelming Gaius Cestius. For those embarking on the Grand Tour during the 18th and 19th centuries, the Pyramid of Cestius was a must-see. Percy Shelley described it as one keen pyramid with wedge sublime, in a 1821 elegy for the poet John Keats. This white mausoleum, built in the 1st century BCE during the last years of the Roman Republic, looks incongruous at first glance. The tomb's pyramidal form is a reflection of the Cleopatra fad that swept through the empire's capital after the conquest of Egypt just a few years earlier, in 30 BCE. That victory had made the monuments and funerary practices of the powerful province very fashionable indeed. The fact that a single citizen was able to build a personal tomb worthy of a pharaoh says much about the wealth of ancient Rome. Already considered one of antiquity's most significant monuments back in the 1400s, this Roman pyramid has a burial chamber inside once adorned with vibrant frescoed panels of female figures. Discovered during excavations in 1660, it was found to contain the ashes of Gaius Cestius, magistrate, tribune, and Epulonum, member of the Septemvirate, one of Rome's 4 great religious organizations. The strength of the materials, brick-faced concrete overlaid with white marble slabs on a travertine foundation, made possible a truly firm construction, built at a much sharper angle than any of its Egyptian counterparts. Inscriptions on its eastern and western faces record the names and titles of the deceased as well as the circumstances relating to the construction. Built in less than a year and intact to this day, Gaius Cestius's funerary monument has proved far more enduring than anything he achieved while alive. Anna Amari Parker. A pyramid in Rome built in just 330 days. There was a time when all things Egyptian were fashionable in ancient Rome. After Augustus conquered the country, many cultural and artistic influences from all over Africa flowed through Egypt into Rome and the Romans transported many of the monuments they liked best to their homeland. Among these were many obelisks, which were used to decorate forums and circuses, such as the Lateranense and the Flaminio, which used to adorn the Circus Maximus but which can be found today in the piazzas of San Juan de Latran y del Popolo respectively. Romans accepted and appropriated everything that came out of Egypt with gusto at this time. It is in this context that Gaius Cestius, politician, praetor and priest, left orders in his will to bury him in a mausoleum built in the style of the Egyptians. What is more, in order for his descendants to receive their inheritance, they had to ensure that construction was completed within 330 days of his death. And so, they did. Between the years 18 and 12 BC they built a pyramid approximately 30 square meters at the base and 36 meters high out of brick and then covered it in white Carrara marble. On the sides, Cestius' descendants inscribed the exact words of his will so that modern historians have no problem corroborating this colorful story. On the inside is the funerary room, a barrel vault room which, in its day, was replete with frescoes, some of which can still be seen today. Contrary to popular belief, the design of the Pyramid of Cestius was not actually based on
the most famous pyramids of Giza. The sharp angles of the sides, rising into a severe point at the top, show that its design owes more to the pyramids of Nubia than those of Egypt, but their cultures were probably merged in the minds of Romans at the time. From a mausoleum, to a protective wall. The Pyramid of Cestius is also a testament to the incredible growth of the Roman Empire during the first 2 centuries AD. In ancient Rome there was a law stating that graves and mausoleums were prohibited from being built within the city walls. However, by the 3rd century AD the labyrinthine streets of Rome had stretched so far from the original center that they soon surrounded Cestius' mausoleum. With the threat of marauding, barbarian tribes, the Emperor Aurelian ordered that the pyramid be integrated into city walls as a corner bastion to protect the citizens within. It is probably thanks to this curious integration, which can still be seen today since the pyramid is still part of the remains of the Aurelian Wall near the San Paolo Gate, that the pyramid has survived in such good condition. In fact, it is believed that Cestius was not alone in ordering his body be buried in a pyramid and that there were as many as 4 pyramids originally, all of which have been demolished over the years. The rediscovery of the Pyramid of Cestius. On the other hand, the integration of the pyramid into the Aurelian walls actually caused it to lose much of its luster both physically and in the minds of the people who lived around it. It was not until the excavations ordered by Pope Alexander VII in 1660 that the inscriptions of Cestius' will were finally revealed and the story of Cestius and his pyramid was once again celebrated in Rome. Archaeologists of the day also managed to unearth many of the columns and sculptures that once surrounded the pyramid, and these can be found in the Capitoline Museums, link, Capitoline Museums, today. These discoveries placed the pyramid at front and center of popular imagination and became a source of inspiration for the other pyramids that were built across Western Europe between the 18th and 19th centuries.